Hi, welcome into this Lexington Law Credit Repair review video. My name is Michael with Viral Funding Solutions. I'm a business funding expert, business loan broker expert, and pre-underwriter slash underwriter who's also helped out people repair and fix their credit, help them understand about their credit even more in depth in ways that they didn't know before, and things they can use with their credit to get funding and for other things like a home mortgage, auto loan, and for many other uses. So today we are here and you see the homepage that I'm about to take you through in a second, go through the services, the pricing, and also what's been going on with them lately, or at least what's happened in the past in case you didn't hear or forgot about and just need a refresher, and what the number one recommendation that I would say is for getting your credit repaired today in this market and what you should be looking out for. So, in case you haven't heard, there's been things going on with Lexington Law, as much as a filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy. But since then, they have emerged and have still been helping out people get their credit repaired, as so from what I've been hearing out there. And it's not uncommon that you see companies file for bankruptcy and then still continue on in their process of trying to help their consumers, current ones and or others. But with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the CFPB for short, getting involved with this and things happening with the telemarketing sales rule, TSR for short, is enacted in saying that they violated their policy. They violated by collecting upfront fees from clients. Telemarketing to them is one thing, and then collecting the upfront fees associated for credit repair slash restoration. So that is in violation of that. And even just getting setup fees, even if it was a low cost, maybe $15 here or another $15 there, whatever the upfront fees and costs were associated, is besides the fact that they're doing this. So whether they practice ways of purchasing leads or in other formats and then sent this to their telemarketing team to then them handle that. And from what I've been hearing too, being sales pressured and these tactics to get people on board. Uh, and that's another thing you have to be careful of. And at that point, I wouldn't want to work with a company that would do that and continue to hammer something down my throat, let alone an upfront fee slash cost. That's where I would put the line on, even way before that, because I have a high standard and you should have that as well when it comes to not only getting your credit repaired, but credit education for funding and for other purposes as well. You don't want to accept less. And that's what we need to get at today, especially in this market, and to better ourselves, to be better as a person each and every day in our health and our relationships. And that's where I help out a lot of people. The byproduct of getting your credit repaired, of also getting funding, is just a byproduct. For me, I want to help you in more ways than one, and as I've helped out many others before as well. So that's happened there. And getting into a settlement and about 400 million in debts needed to be paid. That number could have shrunk by now, but that's a lot. And to have to postpone payments for 6 months per customer, and that will not work for Lexington Law. And so they have to provide a result and over 6 months given and documentation, or at least shown proof of this, that they were able to help somebody before anything is collected. So it's illegal to pay a company up front before anything is done, upfront fees in that case. And then the FCR, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, getting involved and then understanding a lot of this stuff going on. So it's going to cost a lot more for them. And so it's like they think about having to hold off on payments for 6 months, change their structure, their systems, their ways of processing clients to satisfy everybody else. So it becomes very expensive. You start to lose employees, you start to lose people handling parts of the process. That's how companies go bankrupt. And that's not just one way, there are many others as well. And I help people improve their cash flow, their EBITDA, their profitability, their gross profit margins, net margins. I do a lot of that in my own businesses. And so I can help a lot with that and help you better understand how to go through. So if you are a startup, for example, right now, and you do want to start a business, but you're unsure about like, how can I get a loan? Will they even qualify me for one? The banks won't work, or will they work? Can I get, how about credit cards? There's credit cards at 0% interest for 6 to 18 plus months that help a lot of people get just with their credit alone. And if they were just to get something removed, something derogatory, deleted, perhaps an account, something that they need to do accurately, but they didn't know, that could get them the difference between 20 to 50 to 250,000 plus in 0% interest funding. And even if it's not 0%, there are still business credit cards, personal term slash installment loans, personal lines of credit. It can be the difference of getting a home equity loan, a home equity line of credit, but you have too many inquiries on all three consumer credit bureaus or just one. So if you do show interest or at least want to go through and get a startup loan or startup funding, or if you're a non-startup needing your credit repair so you can progress, get better terms and rates, get that mortgage, not have to hold things up for another year. There's a lot of benefits to credit repair. And again, I'm going to leave my number one recommendation down below. There should be a video review or at least documentation you can check on. So here we're going to go through, as you see, your credit is our mission. Lexington Law was founded to ensure everyone gets the credit they deserve. Sign up online. What is credit repair? Is it different from credit building? Building credit and repairing credit are essentially two sides of the same coin. You can see here by clicking on both. Building credit usually refers to activities that could add new positive information to your credit, and repairing credit repair deals more with the past by helping you remove errors and unfair negative items wrongfully impacting your credit. Things that were unlawfully and things that can be disputed as well as on your behalf if you're not doing it. And that's why a lot of people use a credit repair company too, is because of the efficiency is one thing, but mitigating risks. And a lot of people want to conserve their energy and time as well as money trying to do it on their own, hiring these firms, these law firms or attorneys, and getting charged a lot more if they're involved at a lot higher level. And you don't need all those additional costs most of the time, way more than often. You won't need that. But building credit, I also help people with. So if you needed to add organic accounts to your personal credit profile, that is a possibility depending on what you currently have and what you're going through. It's all about the reports. It's all about the story it tells me. I've reviewed a lot of credit reports. Honestly, I have. I do it day in and day out, especially when people are getting funding through credit activities and through other means as well. At Lexington Law, they offer services that cover both credit building and repair. Not sure what your credit needs? Find out with the free credit assessment. Lexington's Law's three-step proven process, identifying and addressing any unfair, inaccurate, or unverified negative items hurting your credit, including collections, late payments, charge-offs, and more, as many credit repair companies do. But another thing you also have to be cautious as of many companies, what they do is they may charge you a lot, or they charge you a little bit just to get you a quick win and get you motivated, get the easy things removed and or disputed. You got to understand there's cycles to doing credit repair. So if you have, like, let's say 11 inquiries on one credit bureau, that's worse than having 11 on all three. And it can take a little bit more time, especially with cycles and rounds, because a lot of the times, a lot of credit repair companies will do 3 to 4 rounds or 3 to 4 inquiries per round, or more or less. They can take care of it at once, but it's not always in the best interest if you have a higher amount, because you send that into the bureau or they send that in. It's looked at as like, well, this is a lot. Like, is this somebody to be trusted? Are we going to want to prioritize their files? Can take more of a workload, cost. There's other things that are associated with the reporting cycle on their side. So it's best that at most cases that are sent in cyclicals and things are sent in cycles. So that's just a little bit of that. And just keep in mind as we're going into this about what's happened with Lexington Law and why are a lot of people diverting and how there are many options out there. But like I said, I'll have my number one recommendation down below that you can learn more about. And there could be a credit audit analysis that can be done, things that really help you move forward so you know per cycle and you know what's happening throughout the process, things that are conveyed to you, things that are transmitted and communicated. That's what you want. And that's where a lot of things get lost in communication with a lot of credit repair companies, is they'll do the act of getting things taken care of and removed, but you're unsure about what's happening in the process. Or if something did go through, well, why weren't you notified or at least knew a little bit about where they are in the process until later on? It's like now you have an additional charge, something else comes up, but you could have taken care of it earlier in the process. So that's another part of it that I wanted you to know very quickly on that. And so let's go through this part now. Number one, review. First, they'll look over your credit together to determine which questionable negative items are wrongfully hurting your credit. Two, repair part. Next, they ask the bureaus and your creditors to verify these negative items as accurate and fair. If they can't, they should remove them as accordingly. Number three, restore. As you work to manage your credit wisely, they continue to leverage the law for your credit, addressing new credit issues as they appear. It says get started here, free credit score, free credit report summary, free credit repair recommendation. You can fill out some details there. What's your credit costing you? You can see here for a personal loan, the average loan amount, $8,085 plus the average interest cost, $2,829, and your monthly payment, or at least somebody's you're looking at is 182 throughout the duration of it. And you got to also look at the term. You got to look at a lot of other things. But personal loan there, you can say credit cards there is now added up to $220, and that being there in the good credit range. And you can go to fair, you can see that adjustment, excellent, drops your payment to 20, as you see as it goes up there. And then why choose Lexington Law? And we'll go through some of these things later on. But let's go through the services now. And again, I'm going to try to leave information down below to get started with credit repair. And I'll have my number one recommendation. I might have this page you can check out to learn more on things and the costs associated with it. And then I'll also have this document perhaps that you can check out, or it takes you directly to a repair video you can check out. And in the description of that video, there will be a link. It should be the very first one you can click on, and it should bring you up to this. Here, bring it up on this one. It should bring you to this page. You can fill out some simple details. It'll ask for your social, but you don't have to fill it out on this form. It's just to make sure that the credit is where it needs to be and for verifying eligibility and who you are. It's very safe and secure. I've helped out people through this process. And a lot of this I normally will outsource. So I've done credit repair to an extent a long time back, some time ago, and I understand how it works. I'm up to date in the market for the very, very most part. And I'll outsource this to a guy of mine and team, and they deliver very well. They do great work. They help out, and you'll see the benefits to that and the pricing to it. So you can check that out as well. I'll leave more information down below. And I have a great personal and business connection with him. And if anything else were different, anything else were to change in the future, you'll see adjustments on recommendations and things like that. So the services, get a free credit assessment to see which service is right for you. Get started or sign up online as an option. Service levels, get the most out of your service level based on your needs. So they have everything from Premier Plus all the way to Concord Standard. And let's go through these very quickly with the features. So it's intensive, moderate, and then fair on what they'll do. And there's different pricing for that. So you can click here to see more, to expand. But bureau challenges / disputes, all the way down to junk mail reducer. You can see everything there, so I won't say it word for word. But ID theft insurance is a huge one. With my number one recommendation, there's identity protection. So that's there as well. There's a lot of benefits too, the credit audit, credit analysis, and an in-depth look by somebody who's really going to care and help you improve your credit. And with the team-to-team combo there, it's going to maximize the potential and odds of you getting through things much faster. Not guaranteeing, of course, it's a disclaimer. I'm not saying that there's going to be guaranteed results within 2 months. Not everything in credit repair is guaranteed, and for the most part, it isn't. So another thing too, through Lexington Law, and from what I've been hearing and things like that, is also allegedly misled consumers about the success rate and false promises on how quick they can repair or do credit restoration. And so when somebody tells you it's 100% success rate, not saying they did or not that, but saying that's 100% guaranteed, be very cautious because not everything in this is guaranteed. There could be an approximate timeline based on what's happened in the past and how I've helped out people through the repair process and seen how things come out on the other end and how much time it's taken. Like somebody going from a 500 credit score to a 700 credit score, it's taken 10 to 12 months. But why? It's not due just to high utilization. It's due to other things like negative factors, derogatories, bankruptcies, other things that are accounted for. It's probably the change of names, somebody international coming into the US that needs to do things and domestic reasons and for other things for getting funding. And perhaps they are at a 500 credit score. What if somebody's at a 700 credit score and they just need to get their name changed? They just need to get like 10 to 12 inquiries changed. But how long ago were those inquiries? When was that late payment, if there is any, or multiple of anything else derogatory, anything that needs to get deleted and disputed accurately? If you're already at 700 level, you need to get some of those things removed. It could take 2 to 3 months to get to where you need to be. But what I always tell people is it begins with your credit and making sure that you understand that fully in a hard market that can be very treacherous, especially with mortgages and rates going up, auto loans. You think about the funding world that I'm a lot in as an expert, and that's been going up, and it's not going to get any easier. It'll get somewhat easier for certain industries next year, like trucking, a little bit better, but it's still going to be hard with fuel costs always being high, diesel, a lot of things happening there. I'm not going to get into that space, but there are many different businesses that I've helped get funding for, but a lot of them have to go through credit repair. Even if you don't have bad credit, it's just something that you needed to get removed. It was reporting inaccurately. That can be the difference with you getting the most amount instead of getting too many rounds in the next 3 to 6 months, repeating the process. Maybe you do it all in one, or you need to wait another year, or you need to get a credit partner. That's the other thing. If you're getting funding, getting a credit partner to assist you, that'll be very helpful. And I can share with you more information. And just very quickly, this will be down below. It's a business funding questionnaire form that you can fill out, some simple funding details. It looks like this more or less. It might be changed over time. Select from one of the two options, whether you're a startup or a non-startup. And what comes with it when you complete this is a free 6-step pre-approval lending checklist or funding checklist, you could say, and a 900 plus, more or less, as that gets updated over time, exclusive free grant document lists, like an Excel spreadsheet, or it could be in the form of a different document that you can get access to that gets rotated monthly, things that get updated, things that will show continuous, discontinuous, things that you can get access per industry, or if not every industry, for small businesses of a different caliber, or this applies to every small business. It just depends on what you go through by state, for emergency relief grants, for felon friendly, for minority-owned businesses per state and things like that. But if you click one of these two, let's click non-startup here. And it's hard. I get it when you're trying to repair your credit. I've been there with things that my credit is low just because of high utilization or because of other factors. And I need to get back on track and I need to mitigate my personal expenses and learn how to budget that better. And I did that many years ago. I learned that. And it's not easy for a business owner or for anybody to go through. But here you can fill out some simple details. Literally gets done in less than a minute. I know how to pre-underwrite files, pre-underwrite/underwrite. But as an expert, you will be in the safest of hands. And I've helped out plenty of people get the right funding because in this market, it's very treacherous. And if you don't have the right relationship, you won't have the best strategic partnership and roadmap longer term. People overpromise and under delivering, bait and switching you. You have to be very, very cautious of what you do and who you go to apply to in this market, because not only funding wise, but a lot of people out there have your data and information and how they continue to telemarket or continue to reach out to you. You have to be cautious of that. And if you're not paying enough attention to it, it can backfire on you. You'll get tired. You'll get stressed out before anything. So you see everything there: TransUnion FICO score, lost wallet protection, and what you get in one plan versus the other. You don't get those in these, but you do get it in the most intensive package. And see which services fit your credit needs with the free credit assessment or sign up online. Understanding the credit repair process, setup and discovery. First, you take a close look at your credit and work with you to determine which questionable negative items are wrongfully hurting your score. 2, challenging and dispute. Next, they ask the bureaus and your creditors to verify these negative items are as accurate and fair. If they can't, they are required to remove them. As I said earlier, 3, manage and monitor. As you work to manage your credit wisely, they continue to leverage the law for your credit, addressing new credit issues as they appear. So one thing I want to pause there quickly, and we'll go here and we'll try to close up in the next 5 to 10 minutes. I appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. And again, all information will be down below in the description, especially my number one recommendation on where to begin, the better benefits there, and things that happen in the process. But monitoring and managing your credit is number one. It's one thing to start off with the foundation, your personal credit, but I don't even say the credit is the foundation of everything and funding or anything else. The foundation of it is this. It's your core values and your principles that govern your everyday life and what you do and in work as well in tandem. So what you believe in, what your vision, your values, your mission is and are in life as a person. That's where it all begins, your core values and principles, everything that governs that. Are you very loyal? Do you value commitment, honesty, fitness, integrity? I have a lot of that. And I've worked on myself. Not that I've been bad. I went to school, I educated myself. I studied a bit of sociology, then I went into chemical engineering. I wanted to do that. I'm a math head, system oriented person. I played Division 1 soccer for a bit. I'm not genetically gifted, but I've always had the heart, and I've always had this up here. I just had to further the development of my mind and my mindset. And that's what I recommend a lot of people do. And it's hard because we're in a market now, especially more than ever, where everybody has a short attention span. A lot of people are stressed out, already have bad credit. You're telling me that I got to work on my development. I got to have self growth. You're telling me I got to look at myself in the mirror and see what I need to change. And that's hard for many people to do. But when you get into business, when you get into entrepreneurship like I have, you start to see a lot of this, that your business improves as you improve. And you start to see that your margins become better because you become more adept at handling things and managing and organizing and being more disciplined and punctual. And as opposed to, not saying that this person, this type of characteristic trait, they wouldn't be able to, but it comes down to the characteristic traits. Are you being egotistical, stubborn, ignorant, arrogant, going against everything and only listening to yourself when others are trying to help you and educate you? And if that happens, okay, you leave that out the door, we're ready for the process, but we don't want friction and resistance. And a lot of the times people will bring that in, and we don't need energy and time and efficiency. We want to do this at the best capacity possible, that when we leave at the end of the day, we have a family to attend to. You have a newborn, you have kids, or you don't. They're out the door already. You don't have kids. You want to go and spend some time here on the weekend, but you're stressed out from the week because you're like, I'm so stubborn, or I let somebody get in my way, or I let myself get in the way. And like the process, you did more than you had to do. And so we want to make sure we're as efficient with a lot of this, but it starts with monitoring your credit, not only in personal, but in business. And I'm going to leave more information on building your business credit down below, especially getting 0% interest business credit cards and things like that, that are helpful for inventory, sell-through rates if you're an Amazon FBA seller, for managing inventory, for a lot of other reasons for that space, for healthcare, retail, restaurants. There's so many more, construction, trucking. Those are just some. Manufacturing. I can go on and on. I've helped out a lot of people acquire the right funding and then also having them go through their credit repair process. So you see here, 40 points, 89% of our clients who saw their credit improve saw an average increase of 40 points while working with Lexington Law. That's not anything that another company couldn't do. Somewhat similar processes to it, but everybody has a different need and needs. So yours might be more intensive. That takes a little bit more time to see that increase in points. You might see only 5 points increase, maybe in a couple of months or on a month or so basis. But this takes time with credit repair. A lot of people expect quick results when it's like 30 days. The bureaus have time to look at this, and making sure everything is there. And then everything that gets then put into the process of disputing, that could be another month. So you might see 2 to 3 months, 4 to 6 months. But a lot of people like to stay on just in case something happens, or they know they're going to get themselves into more issues, or they just continue to go because the service is there for them and it's convenient, and for many other reasons. What the clients are saying, Lexington Law are the most professional and dedicated team I've ever met. After 3 months, I started to see a few changes, and I can't wait for my credit to continue changing. Great job, and I cannot be happier with the online services and web as well. The BCOP, Miami Beach, Florida. And then great service. They stay in contact and give great advice. They work very fast. I've seen my credits come from nothing, and it is still growing. I recommend their service to anyone who is serious about their credit. Shatia from the Bronx, New York. Lexington Law helped me get my credit in order so I could buy a new home. Without their help, I don't know where my credit would be. They are true. They are a true blessing. I will recommend them to anyone who needs help on repairing their credit. Kelly from Athens, Alabama. And there are more, but there's just some of them there. Credit repair guide, negative items, things that they have there. that you can see as we scroll up here. See more there. And credit help, if you go through here, they have different guides, credit industry, negative items. So they have educational help, and that is helpful. But to what extent? There's a lot of things changing right now with credit, and it's hard to keep track of it all, especially if you have a lot of things you need to take care of. If you run a business, especially, I have multiple, and it's hard at times to keep track of everything. In case you were wondering, very quickly, like quick part of me, I have a digital marketing agency, lead generation business, helping people and businesses get the right type of funding. Excuse me, get the right leads into the door, target demographically, psychographically, as well as create their marketing plans and do other things, organic advertising or paid advertising or by other means of making sure that they're getting and acquiring enough leads, customer acquisition costs, cost per leads, all these other things that I've helped out people with. And then also I have an affiliate marketing business in the health space with helping people with vitamins and supplements, pain relief creams, proteolytic enzymes, fibrin, people who have arthritis, who have acute, subacute, and more pain. I've had some of these issues myself as an once athletes and for other reasons. And so in that space, and then I expanded into other categories there, and then another affiliate marketing business helping people understand what services they can use for their business, other verticals and other ventures. But this has been my primary focus as a funding expert who I outsource work to for credit repair because I have a lot of things I got to do, especially when I focus on my funding world, which I'm primarily focused on, while all this other work can be outsourced and I check up on from time to time. But as being focused as I am, working with the best lenders and team out there, I'm very introverted. I didn't say that earlier. It might be hard to believe that, but I'm very introverted. I just have learned the skill set of communication ethically, and I still stumble over my words, but I'm a very thoughtful, very cerebral person. I in my head a lot every single day, and I do a lot of math, numbers. That's what I love to do, helping people out as well as on the front end. I like a lot of the back end work though too, the system engineering, data, reverse engineering, that looking at a lot of data, understanding that. And one of my latest roles in the 9 to 5, I was in a financial logistics position that went down under, and I had to go back on unemployment benefits and food stamp cards, and that was not a good feeling for me. Introverted me, even showing up with an EBT card, I couldn't even look or lock eyes with the person at the register. I'm walking out with my bags, thankful and grateful, but knowing that I'd have to come back, I almost was shaking at times. I have a younger brother too, and so it's like being that introverted cerebral type. I've always been thoughtful about things. I can overanalyze a lot that could not work in my favor or it's working against me. A lot of times it does do well, but being thoughtful is something that I value heavily. Feedback and being patient is what I've learned over many years at my age. And so I just wanted you to know a little bit about that. I've done stuff in construction, manufacturing, in the actual field position before they put me in, before I got into a cubicle space type of uh, environment and doing a lot of blueprint stuff in the machines. So I've worked my way through, even if I went through things academically. And I've just always had the heart and I've learned a lot, worked with a lot of owners in these companies and have learned quite a bit, inventory management, a lot of other stuff, ordering supplies, doing a lot of different stuff with tracking. Choose your track, the divorce focus track you see here, the student loan focus track, Brittany's Lexington Law Story, the identity theft focus track, the military service focus track, and here you can see a little bit more of a review, medical focus, and so forth. So pricing range as well. It's not uncommon to see with a lot of credit repair companies that they would charge like 100 to 150 or so and above. And while they don't necessarily give you the costs associated with it there, you can see here how much does Lexington Law cost, and it'll go through more or less what we saw on the previous page, but here you see $139.95 plus taxes and fees for their intense plan, all the way down to $99.95 for their Concord standard, which is fair. And again, you don't get everything. I would rather have one service I can pay for, not complicate things, have it all in one, even if I don't need everything and anything. Like I have it and it's very cost effective and efficient. I won't get any upfront fees associated. I want a company too that hasn't dealt with these problems or at least has changed, but not dealt with those problems. And I know I'm going to be kept up to date on what's going on. But here's this page: billing cycle or schedule. When you engage Lexington Law Firm, billing is straightforward, similar to an electric utility bill. They invoice at the end of each service period for completed work during your service. They bill at 3 points. Day one, credit report access. On your first day, you'll be charged a one-time fee that allows us to pull, or allows them, I should say, to pull your report directly and automatically. Day 5 to 15, first work fee. The first work fee is not the same as the monthly service fee that occurs later. The one-time first work fee is billed between 5 to 15 days after you start. This covers the initial work in monitoring your credit, providing you with a credit score and credit reports, and performing credit repair services. Day 35 through 45 plus monthly service fee. Your monthly service fee is billed 30 days after the first work fee and continues for as long as you retain the services. So it could sound complicated. It's really not, but there's a lot of little things too with credit repair companies that if you don't know, it's like I said, a lot of the times they're going to want to give you quick wins to stay motivated. It's like it's not the most best thing you needed to. It's not the hardest thing, and you really needed the other things removed quicker, but it wasn't going to work, and that's what your expectation was. And they may have been able to, but they were focused on a few things that they can do quicker and much easier that they can give to somebody else on the team that would take care of that. I don't want to say it's exactly like a digital marketing agency would kind of operate, but sometimes with those, they do this where they'll have a team of people from like keyword research, and then they have the content creator team, and then they have the advertising team. There's like a lot of different departments, and they'll put somebody maybe who gets the lowest wages, and they'll be the one monitoring and tracking your account, making sure you're getting the right leads and stuff. But you wanted the higher ups, you wanted the people who really have the best access to it. Instead, you have somebody who's just doing micro changes when you needed a macro change. So those are little things you got to be careful of and understand. Bureau challenge and disputes, credit interventions, credit score improvement analysis, a tool on the client website that gives coaching and helpful tips to clients for each of the 5 main credit score categories: debt handler, ID theft insurance, and some of the stuff here that we've already covered before. Late fees, let's click there. As we saw earlier, on fees, on your monthly billing date, you will charge your credit card or your card that they have on file. If your card is declined due to insufficient funds or is not updated, then when they charge it, the payment will be considered late. Once the payment does not go through, a late fee will be added to your account. So now you have more fees. And that's another thing you have to be cautious of is, can you afford it? I have people that I help out with my #1 recommendation. Again, that'll be down below. You can check out, very reputable source, and great personal and business connection that I have with the person who I'm outsourcing it to. And again, I do that because I help out a lot of people on funding. I got other projects, and I'm doing SBA deals. I'm doing credit back through 0%, personal term / installment loans, a combination of the two, one or the other, collateral backed account receivables, inventory, liquidity, equity, venture capitalists, angel investors, connections, grants, and other sections. So I can't always be everywhere and anywhere. So there's a team associated. And when I can, and I can go review, especially on the back end or anything up front, I'll be doing that. I love to do reviews of bank statements, tax returns, P&Ls, debt schedules, and a lot of that. So here you see, excuse me, the late fee could be $19.95, $9.95, or $4.95. They'll continue to attempt to collect payment, but you will not be assessed a reprocessing fee for attempt. What will be the payment look like? When a payment is made to them, you can expect it to reflect on your debit / credit card statement or ACH account as CRT, Lexington Law. Payment after cancellation. If you're trying to decide whether to cancel Lexington's services, excuse me, it's important that their billing works similar to a utility bill. As I said earlier, they charge a first work fee between 5 and 15 days, as mentioned, after the engagement to set up your case, and then charge their monthly rate after that. If you choose to cancel in the middle of your billing cycle, you may be charged for work performed from your last payment up until that date. For example, if your billing date is usually the 1st of the month and you choose to cancel on the 15th, you can usually expect to be charged half of your monthly fee, either the day of cancellation or on your next bill date. They will only charge for the work that was performed, as mentioned there. So another thing too with a lot of credit repair companies is, like any kind of business, there's front end costs that offset the advertising costs, the cost to acquire a customer, the cost to per lead, cost to fulfill, the lifetime value, the lifetime gross profit value. If you're unsure about what I'm speaking about, those are things that we can go over later in time, or I can help with. Understand gross profit margins well, and where you need to get at net and what you need to be operating at. So by the end of the year, you have enough to distribute amongst marketing and advertising services to payroll for business expenses, operational expenses, and you still have enough left over to pay yourself or for other reasons as well, other things that incur. But here it is that you have to be cautious that there's a lot of upfront costs maybe associated and things that you might have to go through and hurdles. Maybe it changes over time where it's a little bit different. But again, it comes down to reputation and making sure you have somebody you work with who will not run into problems and somebody who's up to date in the market with what's going on. And I believe that's in your best benefit to make sure that your credit profile is maximized without going into any of these diagnosis problems of wondering if you'll be able to even come out of it correctly without there being an issue that company is given, like going through bankruptcy or for other reasons. I wouldn't want to have that done. So that's part of it. Now, I think that's where I'm going to end in this video. Let me move this up here. So again, not saying that they're not as efficient. Depends on your file. Other times it might be dragged out, lagged out. Not a lot of people like that and getting started within the process. So if you want something more straightforward, something that is very reputable, that doesn't run into problems, and you know you're getting the best benefits out of this that come with it, here is more of this document that I want to show you. You might see this or you might get it in a different format, but here there's more of it. If you're interested in credit repair services so you can leverage your credit for funding by itself, or in order to get better terms, rates, and funding amounts, especially for a home mortgage, auto loans, and for other reasons. Also for revenue-based funding, credit-backed funding, you can check out my #1 recommended service below. But first, you can let me know in the additional notes of the credit repair form that I showed you earlier, which will be this one. No, it'll be let me see where. Yeah, should be this one. So here, what I mean by is let me know what you plan to achieve. First, what's your major problem or problem subset of those, and why would be helpful, like the why, the what, the when, the how, and just letting me know what you are trying to get removed or what you're trying to get fixed. And that'll be very important. What is your overall goal? And so please put that in there. As I say, this is a required field. It's for me to know. It's going to be very energy and time efficient. It's very safe and secure. It's going to move us along the process too much faster rather than going back and forth email, text, perhaps phone call if needed. It's like, oh, okay, you're going through all these little steps. You want to be as efficient as you can, and everything is going to be transparent. I'm a very transparent person. That's something you're going to learn from me. Very, very loyal. I'm a Libra if that says anything. I'm very, very loyal. It's hard for me to trust others when they don't show me they can be trusted. So I'm a very loyal person again, and just know you have the best in your corner. So here I just kind of gave an example for what you need. Maybe a 500 to a 700 can take 10 to 12 months. Just depends on what needs to get addressed and cleared. So everybody's credit is different, but it's very reasonable, affordable, and very efficient compared to others out there that charge you a lot and could be less efficient. And like a lot of these services do, they stop you at one point of the process. Maybe they get you in for an early $20, and that's what you need to be cautious of. It's one thing to have upfront fees. It's another thing to say they're going to charge you lower than the 100 to 150 or whatever it is, 300. But is it efficient? Is it maximizing what you need to do? Sometimes they're going to overcharge. You need to be cautious of that. You don't need all that. And what they're giving you and it's included in, it doesn't make sense to. And other ones that are going to charge you less than 100 or like $20, but that's how they bring you in. And then they bring you in through a round of inquiries removal. And then another cycle, they're going to ask you for an additional charge if they haven't. And if they even didn't, like I would be questioning, why am I only getting so much that I have to put up myself? Is it efficient? I'd be questioning that. And I want the very best at the end of the day. So individual plan at 129 for a full credit analysis audit and plan of action with that advanced metric to dispute and disputing processes, Oscar, all this. So you don't have to worry about getting the best, and a bunch more I will show you in the review video that I'll have underneath this video, very likely, or you come across this that you can access first to then get to that video review and or a different form of a page. Here's more for this plan. Updates in your own secured client portal, credit education, access to credit boosters, customer support and disputing agent, month-to-month service, no upfront costs. huge. Cancel at any time. It's nothing complex or complicated like a lot of these other credit repair companies could have. Identity protection at $27.99. These are 3 bureau FICO scores and reports along with more like this: 100% US based customer service support, credit monitoring to alert for suspicious activity, 25K ID theft insurance. So very good, manageable there. Alerts for new accounts, fraud restoration, huge, especially right now with a lot of people getting fraudulent activity, things that are out of their control. Checking account report, lost wallet protection. And also on the fraud restoration, it's like you probably did something that you didn't know, so you needed to clear that up and get things issued and removed. Cost total, you could see it at around 150, perhaps 130, but a lot of the times you're going to see $150 when it comes to a lot of this. So just keep that in mind. It's very affordable. If it needs to be discounted, perhaps, but a lot of the times it isn't, and it's fine. If it's $150, that's the majority of it. Normally, if that were to readjust, I'll let you know and I'll have things updated. But that's very reasonable for everything you get, where other plans would be more expensive, where you wouldn't even get all of that. And then here's a link to fill that out. That should take you to my repair form that I have shown you earlier. And like I said, there's an SSN field, but you don't need to fill that out. You can. A lot of people do who resonate with me, who trust me, and yeah, that happens a lot, and it's very safe and secure, just so you know that. And that's very common, especially when you go through funding or other applications that's going to be requested and asked for, especially at some point. So before I show you the review, there's a little bit of information there just to go through, but there will be a video that you can check out on what my number one recommendation is. And so again, this form, and that's where I'm going to end it at in this video. Let me just come back here to make sure we covered just the majority of it. Sign up free credit assessment. So let's go here and get started and how it would look like. There you go, how it goes. Session timed out, start over. When you get your free credit assessment, you receive this, as what I said earlier. So you fill out first name all the way down to zip code, and you go through that process. And here, FICO and the score lenders use our trademarks or registered trademarks of Fair Isaac Corporation in the United States and other countries. So there's a little bit more there. And so one thing I do want to end it with, and they have the chat online, is that, yeah, there are AI services that are out there, but you also need to be cautious because a lot of people use ChatGPT or things that they use to put these dispute letters and not just normal templates, because when a bureau, when a creditor gets these templates, they're going to look at it as like, okay, that's what we've been getting with a lot, or that's just a very common way somebody would say this. They're looking for also uniqueness or more of a human touch, somebody that understands your file. And like I always tell people, nobody's going to care more about your credit than yourself. And even if you hire a credit repair company that does care as much as they care about you, you are the one that can ultimately put it in best position. But doing it on your own doesn't always work in your best interest. So it's always best to put this and give this to a repair company while you're working on other things. It's like getting 0% interest cards too, that if you're going to make mistakes, you have to be cautious of. If you've gone cards before, you're seasoned and you have a business that's seasoned and you can go do it on your own, okay, but are you getting the very best out of it? Are you doing it for convenience, energy, and time, where you need to focus on going to get a property? Well, I can't go to these banks all the time, or I can't do this, but I need better leverage relationships, and I got to get a team that does this. That's what you're getting, and that's what you're paying for a lot of the time. But results aren't always guaranteed, so don't always feel like you need to have this removed as fast as this needs to be done. I'm gonna test it out for a month or two when it should have taken 3 months to get that all removed. And there's no guarantee of that always, but there's a better rough estimate because of what's happened in the past, but from what I've seen as well, and things that I can see on the back office, things that are being shown, disputing, and things that you have access to as well, and all these other stuff. But that'll all be in there. And we covered everything from what's happening with Lexington Law, with the bankruptcy, settlement, things that are costly and they don't want to go through, and a lot of issues coming up and or have that gone through, I should say. But everything moving forward, just be cautious with AI. It's not always the fix. There's ways to add AI into streamlining processes and disputing and this and that. But having the human touch, having somebody who will help you there at the majority end is going to be most helpful. So that will be down below again to get started. If you want more of a done for you setup, which I strongly still recommend, it's not going away. I don't think it is like people say on YouTube dying. No, they're trying to push a different agenda at times. They're trying to speak to the blue ocean, meaning There's a red ocean that's in bloody waters, a lot of shark infested waters where people are trying to help people with credit repair, and it's all looking the same. There's so many, but to differentiate, you're going to speak to a blue ocean of doing it for yourself or doing it yourself, which I'm not saying wouldn't work, and it's a good approach. Getting attorneys, getting to be more cost effective at times, more efficient if you're doing it correctly. I'm not saying it doesn't work or they're not right for it, but there's a time and a place for those things. And if you want somebody that can help you and an expert to help you leverage your credit and get you in better position, not only for funding, but for other reasons, this is your way to do it and my #1 recommendation. So again, down below, that'll be, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with others who you feel will get a value out of it. It could be a complete stranger, a friend, or a family member, but you knew at the end of the day, before you go to bed too, you can rest your head on that pillow consciously and subconsciously before you even do the action of it. Like I can feel that whenever, before I go to bed, I enter my room. I already knew before going into that, much more calmer, stress-free, and health-wise. You get to work on things more effectively in your own personal life. You get to go to an event that you couldn't have shown up to. You don't feel tired on the weekends where you have to stay in and catch the latest Netflix binge or movie when you knew you could have gone out with a friend or two, but you just didn't want to. You feel guilty for things in life. You don't want to go through that. And then your relationships begin to suffer. I care about you, honestly, as a person. And that's where I want to see the most improvement. It's one thing to help you get the funding as an educational experience, as somebody who knows how to get it done. But where I get a lot of fulfillment too is helping you improve as a person in your health, your relationships, your wealth as a person, and then having that transmitted into the business side because it's a self-reflection of the two, helping your characteristic traits, helping self-improvement, and seeing you really grow and thrive, even in the hardest markets. And really seeing that evolution and looking at numbers that I look at on the back end because I love doing a lot of that as well. So that is everything from me. One more look to make sure I didn't miss anything. Well, there's some things, of course, you can't always cover everything in a video, but for the most part, we went through everything that was detailed that we needed to go through, as you saw through this. People not satisfied, people satisfied with the results from. That's what's going to happen with a lot of different credit repair companies as well. But the process of it too, at times people won't be happy with, and other things that are going and ongoing. So there's a lot of mixed stuff. So even if you go here, I think I should just show you this. So the Better Business profile. So you see there, the complaints and reviews shown on this HQ profile may have been submitted against either or the HQ itself or one of the corporate owned locations found under find locations. So you see a little bit about that. Customer complaints. I hired Lexington Law to fix my credits. Let's go through this. And took my money, did nothing as of September 1823 for still on my experience and my score still very low. I would like my money back. This is Lexington Law response, complaint about our services. Any changes, all consumers have the right to fair, accurate, complete, and substantial credit report. Lexington Law. Limited to changes. So it's just giving them kind of more, looks like a general response. Good morning. My name is February of this year. I hired services for Lexington Law Firm to help me remove inaccurate and negative inquiries from my credit report. Since I did not see they were working on my case, I had to call them and text them to apply some pressure on them so they could do their job. I am already upset since I have not contacted them in a while. Nobody has called, texted, or notified me of any changes or updates in my case. They only have sent credit reports that can be easily pulled from here. They barely sent a couple of letters to who they sent to. When I got mad and got in touch with them before June of this year, I appreciate your help in the resolution of this issue. I hope you have a wonderful day. Just a little bit there. For sure. There's a little bit more. The client had a chat session with the paralegal that explained the process. The follow-up was done accordingly. Even though the client did not ask for anything, we refunded 2 months of fees to him to resolve the issue. The refund will take 5 to 7 business days to process. So there's a little bit more there, as you can see. I'm not going to go through all of these, but in less than a week, they charged my card $140 after speaking with their rep by the name of there. It wasn't disclosed to me. More information entered by, see a little bit more there. So that's, I think, where I'm going to end it. But we saw the good side of it. As you know, we went through this, and especially we didn't go over this one, but I showed you more or less that staff at Lexington has done the things they told me they were able to do for me. and so forth. So there's a little bit more that you can see from Daniel, April 2019. And again, that's 2019. Not saying that there are not any current ones, but take the good with the bad. And if you want my number one recommendation, again, I'll have more information to that down below in the description so you can check out. And if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe and click the bell notification icon so you do not miss any future content I will be coming out with in the future. That is all for now. Take care.